brand new video. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my Altergeist deck profile that I actually took to my locals, and I actually got second place with it. This deck list actually performed very well today, and I can't wait to show you guys the deck list. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. For everyone that plays the Altergeist deck or actually knows the deck very well, you guys know that the Altergeist lineup really doesn't change that much when it comes to the monsters. So we play triple copies of Altergeist Multifaker. We're playing triple copies of Altergeist Maliseek. We're playing triple copies of Altergeist Marionetter. We're playing double copies of Altergeist Zoquitos, one copy of Conquerry, and one of the newly added Altergeist Pukuri. Whenever you activate a trap card, Multifaker is allowed to special summon itself, and when this card is special summoned in a new chain, you're able to summon a Altergeist monster from your deck in defense position. Altergeist Maliseek is a card that allows you to attack directly, and when this card deals damage, you're able to target a card and send it from field to grave. And when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you're able to search an Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. Marionetter, when this card is normal summon, you're able to set an Altergeist trap directly from deck to field. So Zoquitos is the interruption of the deck, where you summon mainly from Multifaker, and in order to bounce an Altergeist card you control, and you're able to target a card and send it back to hand. Conquerry, it doesn't really come up as much, but when it does, it's actually a really good card. When an opponent declares an attack where you control an Altergeist card, you're able to special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, negate the attack. If this card is special summon, you're able to target a monster and negate its effect as long as this card is on the field. And Pukuri is actually a nice addition to the deck, where you're able to basically make an Altergeist Hexia as if it's a link 1 from while using this card in your hand. And especially when you use Maliseek and Pukuri in a link summon, you're able to chain block. So Pukuri will be chain link 2 and Maliseek will be chain link 1. Where Pukuri, you're allowed to add this card from the graveyard to your hand, but it's only you're only allowed to use that once per duel anyways. But it doesn't really matter that much, because the one time, as if when the Maliseek resolves, that's all you need. So that's going to be it for the Altergeist line. Altergeist mainly has an extra deck that is basically pretty flexible. As long as you play 3 copies of Hexia, the rest of your extra deck actually has is basically a flex spot. So we actually managed to play the Dogmatika core. So we played the 1 copy of Ecclesia, 1 copy of Fleur de Lis, 3 copies of Nadir Servant, and we played 2 copies of Dogmatika Punishment. Along with the Nadir Servant, the only spell card we play is triple copies of Pot of Extravagance. You mainly don't use your extra deck all that much within games 1, but when it comes to games 2 and 3, I usually side this card out, because like you basically know if your opponent has the Ash Blossom. So you typically would side this card out, or whenever your opponent would set up any Omni Negates, there would be honestly no use in activating the Extravagance, where you basically know it will be instantly negated. So I'd rather not waste those resources from my extra deck and just make sure I use the extra deck to the fullest potential that I can. So that's gonna be it for the spell cards. Let's get straight to it. So we played a 1 copy of Manifestation. We're playing double copies of Protocol, and we play triple copies of Personal Spoofing. The Personal Spoofing is always going to be a 3 of, but the thing that a lot of people does differently, they may play double copies of Manifestation, 1 copy of Protocol, or double Manifestation, double Protocol. I mainly would prefer this lineup, because like the Manifestation really doesn't come up as much, except like if you were to use like a Marionetter, for example, to go into your link 1, which is going to be the Artemis, and then you get the Marionetter back, but it really doesn't come up all that much. So I mainly try to go for the Altergeist Protocol first. For the next couple of traps, you basically have like the staple in Altergeist, which is triple copies of Infinite Impermanence. Being able to activate this card and instantly go for Hexia turn 1 or turn 0 is actually very powerful, because when it comes to Infinite Impermanence, as many of you know, you're able to activate this card from hand when you have no other cards on field. And being able to just go for instantly Multifaker sets up so many interruptions on turn 0 when your opponent is popping off. It just makes sure that it disturbs them from setting up their full board. And for the next trap card, we're running triple copies of Torrential Tribute. So Torrential Tribute, you're mainly not gonna have like a monster or a monster that's not that important when it comes to turn 1. So you honestly don't mind destroying that 1 monster in order to like activate a Multifaker, for example. Destroy all the other monsters on the field, and then you set up your own board from there and with your own interruptions. So for the next card, we're playing double copies of Solemn Strike. So when it comes to only playing double copies of Solemn Strike, it is a monster negate slash negate special summons. But when it comes to this deck already, that most of you already seen, is the fact that we already play so many monster negates as it is when it comes to the 1 copies of Kongari, 1 copy of Fleur-de-Lis, double copies of Protocol, and triple copies of Infinite Impermanence as it is. So with all the monster negates that we have over here, I figured that we would only play double copies of Solemn Strike since it already uses your life points as a resource anyways. So I figured that with everything that we have for monster negates, it would be more than enough to only just play 2 copies of the Solemn Strike. For the last couple of trap cards in the deck, you're running triple copies of Summon Limit and the 1 copy of Imperial Order. When it comes to Summon Limit, it's the most versatile floodgate there is, but it's the only thing about it is just sucks going second, and it might conflict with your plays as well, but not really as much, because like when it comes to summon limit, you don't really summon that much during your turn anyways, but during your opponent's turn you already use both special summons when it comes to multi-faker and maybe like Silquitos for example, but that barely does anything to you. But the only thing you really have to be careful with is when it comes to the Dogmatika package. We're running Fleur-de-Lis now. Fleur-de-Lis will be using one of your special summons anyways. So you gotta be careful when you either activate the multi-faker or the Fleur-de-Lis to just make sure that it doesn't conflict with your plays. And Imperial Order, you don't really run a lot of spells in this deck, so you are able to afford to not be able to activate spells for the rest of the duel anyways. For your extra deck, we're running triple copies of Hexia, and we're running double copies of Link Karibo. So as long as you run these 2 cards, you're gonna be fine, because the Link 1 is just for the Melistique anyways, and the Hexia, you're running an Altergeist deck, so you obviously need 3 of those. For the rest of the Link ones we're running is double copies of Anima. It's a better card going second anyways, and the fact that we do side deck Kaijus, it just makes it easier to just break your opponent's board. And 1 copy of Artemis, because this cannot just use the Melistique, it can use Marionetter and Silquitos, so it's just a good card to add in the deck anyways. And for the last link to the deck, we're running the Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is the most versatile card when it comes to the extra deck, because like sometimes you might have to break a floodgate or anything like that. So I just thought that Nightmare Phoenix would be a good choice in the deck. For the rest of the extra deck, you're going to be running a Dogmatika toolbox as it is. So you're running the 1 copy of Ferigi to draw 1, put 1 back. You're running the Paleozoic Cambaroster to protect your set back row. You're running 1 copy of Titanoclad in order to search your missing piece, which is most likely going to be the Fleur-de-Lis half the time. And you're running triple copies of Ventus to have the extra destroy when it comes to Dogmatika punishment, or even sending this card off of Nadir Sur and going second. For the side deck that we mainly ran a lot of going second cards. We ran the 1 copy of Pancatraps. We ran the 1 copy of Maximus in order to set up your Paleozoic Cambaroster in your graveyard. We ran triple copies of Lava Golem. We ran triple copies of Godarla, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and we ran triple copies of Solemn Strike. This is only a 14 card extra deck because I really didn't know what to put in for the last spot of the side deck anyways. It could be like anything like a skill drain, it could be a mind control just to bait out the gates or anything like that. So that 15 spot in the extra deck in the side deck can be used for whatever you guys want. Thank you guys so much for watching the Altergeist deck profile. I actually had a lot of fun playing this deck throughout my locals. And if you guys didn't really see my Altergeist locals performance, you guys can still see that. It's going to be in the link in the description down below. Thank you so much once again, and have a great day. Peace.